Hi Bulldogs, Chris Bryant, CCIE 12933 here, and in today's 3-minute boot camp, we're going to take a look at some important STP fundamentals and a little bit of extra work. I'm going to bring up a pod of live Cisco switches here very shortly, and we will be able to see these STP fundamentals in action. One thing I want to mention before we get to that is that you hear and you read so much about routing loops and routing loop prevention in your CCNA and your NP studies that it is easy to hear or read the word loop and automatically think of layer 3. You've really got to be careful about that because we can have switching loops as well, and those happen at layer 2 of the OSI model. Now the reason you don't hear that much about switching loops, real world or home lab, is that the spanning tree protocol does such a great job of preventing them before they can happen. You can actually leave STP at its defaults in many real-world networks, especially small to medium-sized networks, and it's going to get the job done. But of course, for our exams, we've got to understand the theory of STP and also how to fine-tune it. I'll have more 3-minute boot camps on fine-tuning ahead, but right now I want to go over these fundamentals with you. STP again runs at layer 2, and what it's going to do is put some ports in forwarding mode, FWD, and some in blocking mode, BLK. And that's how it actually works to prevent switching loops. There are other STP port stages or states that you need to be aware of: listening, learning, and disabled. And I'm going to show you those on live equipment in a moment, 2 out of the 3 anyway. But when the STP deployment has converged and your network is stable, the ports are either going to be in forwarding mode or in blocking mode. Listening and learning, those are temporary stages. We do not want our ports to stay there. Now, when multiple valid paths between A and B exist, and certainly we want them to exist, by default at layer 2, STP is only going to allow one of those valid paths to be used, even between directly connected switches. And let me show you that. I'll bring the pod up here. And here I'm on switch 2 in a pod that has 2 switches. They are trunking. I've run show interface trunk here, a very helpful command just to verify that before we get started. And I'm going to run show spanning VLAN 1, which is our default VLAN. And you can see that one of the ports is in forwarding mode and the other is in blocking mode. So even though we have 2 valid paths and they're actually directly connected at 2 different points, only one of the paths by default is going to be used by STP. So what I'm going to do now and actually show you those intermediate stages is shut that port down, 011. Now, will it come out of blocking mode immediately and go to forwarding mode, because it is a trunk and obviously it's very important, or will it not? Let me run show spanning VLAN 1 with up arrow, wait for all that, and you can see that now we just see port 012, but it's in listening mode. It's going to go through listening, then learning, and then hopefully to forwarding. And I'll keep running this for a few seconds here, but it is important to note that this port is not going to go from from blocking to forwarding immediately. And you can see it was in listening mode, now it's in learning mode, and we're almost there. I can feel it. There we go. And now it's in forwarding mode. The one state of those 5 that you will not see here, let me go back to that screen, is disabled. Cisco does consider disabled to be an official STP port stage or state, however you want to put it. So we need to know that for the exams, but you will never see DIS there under that port status. Let me bring that up again, because when a port has been shut down, it is considered to be disabled. But again, you will not see DIS there. Watch for other 3-minute boot camps on STP and many other topics on our YouTube channel. I'm Chris Bryant, CCIE 12933.